Today I'll be presenting my genetics topic about cystinosis. Cystinosis is a rare disease. Most children with this can only live to about 40 years of age. It is an autosomal recessive disorder. The problem is that cystine cannot get out of the lysosomes. Cystine crystals build up and destroy the cells. This is an illustration of the problem. On the left is a normal cell with cystine, which are yellow ovals leaving the lysosome. In the middle is a cystinosis lysosome where the cystine cannot get out. On the right is a treated patient. The drug, which are the green shapes, make the cystine able to leave. Cystinosis would not be seen on a normal karyotype. If you look at the 17th chromosome closely, you will find a mutation on the short arm of 17 called 17p. The gene is called CTNS. This gene codes for the protein which carries cystine out of the lysosome. Cystinosis is diagnosed by lab and physical findings as well as symptoms. Labs show increased levels of cystine in the patient's white blood cells. Physical findings are eye problems and growth problems. Patients with cystinosis do not like bright light and are often thirsty and urinate a lot. 3 types of cystinosis. A. Nephropathic, which causes kidney and eye problems. B. Intermediate, which is similar to A but starts later. C. Non-nephropathic, which only has eye problems. This slide shows a 39-year-old man who is only 4.5 feet tall. Look at how the rickets has deformed his hands. The lower right picture shows the crystals built up in his eyes. The red arrow points to the crystals of cystine in the patient's cornea before treatment. The green arrow points to the cornea after treatment. The gray arrow points to the lysosome full of cystine, which is a clear pink area. Drug therapy is available, but you have to take a pill every 6 hours for the rest of your life. Cystigon is the drug's name. It reacts with cystine to make it fit through other exit pathways from the lysosome. Cystinosis is an autosomal recessive which requires 2 parents as a carrier to have a child with a problem. Rarely a child can inherit both chromosomes from their mother. This is called uniparental disomy. On the left, dad is a normal genetic material. In the middle picture, the blue arrows points to mom's mutation. The red arrow points to the child's mutation.
My name is Christian. I'm an individual who has cystinosis. I'm from Connecticut, and I came into the New York office at the National Kidney Foundation to share my story and ultimately, provide something to give back. How I first learned about it was through my parents. But I think, each stage of life, each stage of developing and growing up, there was different levels of consciousness and there was different levels of wanting to take initiative. I think in elementary school, that first realization was when, teachers asked their students, well, what'd you do this weekend? And none of the kids would say, I went to doctor's visits, or none of the kids would say, I went and did a research for, some sort of organization. And so for me, in my mind, that was that first realization of saying, my story, my journey is a little different. And then, ultimately in middle school and, more in high school and university, that's where, learning about the disease and the specifics and the complexities, that's where I really wanted, to take some action there, and just to learn about, what I have to do on a daily basis and how I can prepare. So I think as an adult, I've been dealing with it quite well. I cater that to a support system of, friends and families and social groups. But I think for me, the question I would also ask is, how do you also not forget that you have this element once you've learned how to deal with it? And I think for me, it's you put yourself in circumstances where you can be enlightened, where you can be educated, where you can give back. And I think that's a good trade-off of how do you go from dealing with it to also remembering that you have an element and it's a part of who you are as well. The illness that I have has affected me in multiple capacities, that being mentally, socially, professionally, and in other ways as well. But let's first just address those three. With regards to mentally, it's affected me in the classroom. And what I mean by that is, I learn differently, I think differently than the average kid who is 23 years old. And that habit, that trait was also seen when I was younger. Which transitions to the social part, right? So for socially, how it affects me is, I have a mature disposition. I have a very much reflective temperament, and I cater that to, part of it to, not all of it, but part of it to the illness, and being in circumstances where I've had to, let go or, take more of a serious role and kind of be exposed to some more serious circumstances. I think professionally, you know, for me, this illness has really given me the notion that you live each day to the fullest. So that means, every opportunity you have to meet the obligations, to meet the work ethic or the demands in the corporate or the professional world. For me, I do it to my best of my ability because, I have that mindset of each day living to the fullest from that illness and translating that to the corporate and the professional world as well. That doesn't mean that I'm not cognizant of the fact that, taking medications is part of my routine when I go to work. So for that, I have to navigate those spaces, and I have to navigate how to deal with that in my, daily responsibilities. If you're an individual that has an illness and you need to take your medication, how can you further, heighten the probability that people will take their medicine? You use technology. You have an app that sets an alarm, and it serves as a further reminder for them to take their medication. If you don't have that, the probability of someone actually taking their medicine will decrease. So the advice that I would give individuals who have cystinosis or an ailment is take a breather, learn who you are with the ailment, and learn who you are outside of the ailment. Once you do that, you'll have a core, you'll be more comfortable with who you are, and that's in my opinion, of course. Secondly, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to seek those organizations that can assist you, because that's their purpose and that's why they're there. They're not meant to be there for you not to ask those questions. They're meant to help you, and in some ways also to empower you. The third advice or counsel that I would give is to take initiative in the process. Take initiative, whether that is, looking out for mentorship opportunities, looking for opportunities to be on a team and to provide your input, provide your voice. Because in doing so, when you surround yourself with people on that team, you very much, not only do you share what you know, but you get educated as well. And that's really important. And all of that being said, the key message is, you have a community and you have a group of people in which you can speak to, and also know that we're here for you, okay? You don't have to do it by yourself.
this is a multi-organ condition, and as such, it's one of the rare diseases that affects everything, not just the kidney.
Our first indications with there being difficulty with the eyes would be riding in the car, extreme painful sensitivity to light, just crying because of the light hurting her eyes.
I was really sad because I have something with my eye problem. I was sad because of that.
She came home one day and said, "Mom, I'm really having trouble at circle time seeing, what the teacher's doing, having, difficulty seeing the book that she's reading to us."
Dad, I couldn't really see a book, and it was holes. I wanted to go to a nurse to tell her what happened.
Patients may develop not only squinting of the eyes and an unpleasant feeling and pain sensation if they are not treated. They may have poor vision or blurry vision, but also eventually they may have some secondary changes in the eyes.
It feels like you have an eyelash stuck in your eye all the time. And looking into lights and stuff, and like a flash is the worst thing ever. And yeah, it's not very fun.
Around 5 years old, we started to notice an increase in light sensitivity and an increased difficulty with the eye exams and an increased level of crystals in the eyes, and that prompted us to pursue, obtaining the eye drops.
It is extremely important to manage crystals in the eye, in my opinion, as early as possible.
I think if we have, as a means of teaching and explaining to the family and patient the importance of taking the medication, a picture, a photograph of the child or adolescent's actual eyes with the crystals, this is a dramatic teaching tool that should be encouraged.
It's a little scary because, like, you see the scan of your eyes, if you see crystals.
The recommendations have been, as long as I've been practicing, to give the drops on an hourly basis during the day, during the waking time, so that this child or subject is exposed to as much of the beneficial effects of the eye drops as possible.
Growing up with it, I remember in elementary school, my elementary school nurse coming to my classroom every hour to give me the drops. Just remember her knocking on the door. I'd walk out into the hallway, she'd give me the drops, and I'd go right back in and just carry on with my day.
Now that there's a product for cystinosis in the eyes, my plan is actually a lot easier than it's been before because I can stay local and go to a local ophthalmologist and take care of everything at home.
Despite all the difficulties, so many medications, and children are not feeling well, they are so positive and they never complain, and they are just very grateful whatever it's new developed on the market. They are very grateful for the eye drops that they are developed because they had been waiting for eye drops for 20 years.
I could sit home and be miserable every day, but why? Might as well take your meds and go about your day.
Get as much education as possible because the more you know, the better.
You fit it into your life, you fit the disease into your life and make it work. Whatever that means is up to you as an individual and as a family, but you do have to fit the disease into your life, not let it run your life. This is exciting, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to see the progress and live the progress, and we really are. She is.
Holt's diagnosis took a while.
At his 1-year well check, he had completely fallen off the growth charts. He had lost so much weight and his eyes were so sunken. If he could have spoken to me, he would have said, "I think I'm dying, Mom."
We were given a pamphlet that said, when your child dies from a terminal illness. It was very devastating, and at that point, most of the children were dying in their second decade of life.
The most poignant moment for me was with our geneticist, and he said, "This is a terminal illness."
The thought was that they would predecease us.
Holt is about 3.5, and he's just the happiest kid that I know.
Attaboy. He loves to be outside, loves his big brother and big sister.
We're into that as well, to thinking our kids are fine, and then we have a moment of reality.
My name is Natalie Stack, and I'm 18 years old. I'm in 12th grade. I've had cystinosis since I was an infant.
The disease is so rare that doctors just don't know about it.
When you hear cancer, it gives you a physical reaction in your body.
Kids, the average age for a transplant is 9, and the average lifespan is in the late teens.
Jenna and Patrick take 9 medications every day, every 6 hours.
Originally, when he started taking the medicine, it made him very sick. Jason and I went.
How much has happened since 2006 when we were diagnosed is how long do
Study psychology or possibly art history.
From when we heard the initial diagnosis, which was March of 2006.
There's these brilliant people that have now committed their careers and their research to systems of disease.
It's all about keeping moving forward.
This type of development in my lifetime.
It's a mission.
My name is Christian. I'm an individual who has